Hey everyone, it's 10 Types, and unfortunately I'm a little sick, but that's never stopped me before from making a video. So today we're talking about the mechanics of the Scarlet and Violet era, and specifically the new mechanics. This is a little weird and subjective on like what is a mechanic, which is kind of weird. And there are different like definitions, but I think these are all the new mechanics. Some arguably aren't new. It's kind of weird, as we'll get into it, but let's just go and start things off right here. And we got the EXs, which you've seen in a bunch of different forms. And I'm gonna like a good mechanic is one that I mean is interesting, right? It's a mechanic that you can like there's depth to it and it's just cool. So first we have the basic EX mechanic. Also, hopefully I remember what all these mechanics are. Yeah, I do know what they all are. So we have the EXs, like the regular EXs, and well, I guess like all the EXs kind of fall into this category, but it's the idea that you have like the basic stage ones and stage twos. If it's an evolution, they give two prizes. If it's an evolution, the previous evolution is not an EX. So I think this mechanic's like pretty good. I'll put it in like B tier, which is like solid. B and C are like in the middle. No, I'll put it in A tier actually. I feel like the EX mechanics, it's okay. Technically, I don't know if it's a new mechanic. I think it is a new mechanic. It's like really weird. There is like the old EX mechanic, which like the old lowercase EX mechanic, which is like I think the Pokemon have the same name. I don't know. It's essentially the same, but I'll include it as like a new mechanic. So it's been fine. The balancing of the cards, they've been like quite strong, but I don't think it's been a massive issue. It's not like you can only play multi-prize Pokemon, but certainly they've been very dominant. But I don't know, it's not a huge deal. I mean, it's definitely something that's a little annoying, but that's something that Pokemon's been doing for a long time by now. And it's not a huge issue. And they are like the evolutions, which are good, do evolve from single prizes. So I think it's a pretty good mechanic. Nothing super crazy. It's not like super interesting, but it's fine. Certainly in terms of like a base level mechanic, like a simple lowest mechanic, I feel like it does a pretty good job there. Then we have I got three levels of Tera mechanics. We have the Tera that don't change type, the Tera that do change type, and the stellar ones. So I think the Teras that don't change type are really bad. Like, what is the point of these, right? Like, the one I have is Arcanine EX. The best one is Dragapult EX, and the only like special interactions are with cards that refer to Terra cards, but Richie Draco V-Star, or no, not Richie Draco. I mean, that is good, but Dragapult EX is very good with Sparkling Crystal specifically now. So it's not like there isn't anything meaningful there. And additionally, um, let's see, a list playing Briere. Let me see if I can find a Dragapult list with Briere in it. There's got to be one somewhere, right? I don't know. I mean, you could play Brienne and Dragon Ball. So, um, it's like not completely meaningless right now. I think the like immunity from bench damage is kind of stupid. Like, what's the point of being immune to bench damage, right? With Tera Pokemon, you are immune to your own Pokemon damaging your bench with like the Terra effect thing. It's not an ability. It's kind of like ancient traits, but it's just so weird. Like I don't really get it. With Stellar Crown, there was more depth to the Terra mechanic, which is kind of weird. We'll talk about obviously the Stellar mechanic in just a minute here, but I think the non-type changing Terra mechanic is still super terrible. Definitely, I saw like some idea. I don't remember where I saw this, but someone was like, it would be cool if there were like tools that change Terra types, which I think would be really, really cool. But obviously we don't have that. But yeah, I mean it's really boring. Dragon Ball EX like makes like good use of Sparkling Crystal specifically. But also that's kind of because it's not like a normal type, right? So, it's not anything particularly good here. And then we got the ones that do change type. I think this is okay. I'll put it in like B tier. It's kind of cool. Obviously, Charizard DX is good. I'm trying to think of the other ones. Let me see if I can find the Terra Pokemon. Obviously, we have the Stellars. In terms of ones that don't change type that are good. I think the best one is Dragapult. Oh no, then there's the Ogerpons. I forgot about the Ogerpons too. They don't really interact with the mechanic at all. It doesn't really matter that they're Terra. I mean, I forgot about the fact that they were Terras. Like Teal'c Ogerpon EX, very good card. It does not really matter at all that it's a Terra. Outside of Briere, I guess, which is meaningful. Briere is a pretty good card, but um, it's not like it's just kind of there. And it's just like a label. We'll talk about ancient futures, which are just straight up labels, just things put on the card. But then in terms of ones that do change type, Charizard EX is very good. Um, there's some other okay ones here that I see. Like Greninja EX is okay. Espathra EX is also okay. For Giraffe EX is okay, but like nothing super special here. Just a lot of these cards aren't very good to be honest, but it's like okay, kind of fun to change types because now you have Charizard EX, which can of course play Fire Pokemon, because it's Fire Energy, and then you got like Radiant Charizard as Fire Attack or maybe NTV being put in sometimes, and then you have like there's Darkness Attacker still allowing for like weakness coverage, and the fact that you do have a different weakness as well means that you have like weakness protection from your opponent. So I do think Charizard EX is like it is nice that it does have this unique mechanic to go with this card. The other ones haven't, as I said, been really particularly meaningful, which isn't really a knock on the mechanic. I feel like it's just like the fact that Pokemon hasn't made a ton of really good cards with this mechanic or part of the mechanic. UTX, I guess, also sees play, but not very much, and just recently as well. And then like obviously the fact that like you can use like sparkling crystal or whatever is like kind of good, but nothing crazy there. Then we have the Stellars. Now obviously the Stellars are very new. Their of course gimmick is that you have the 3 type energy cost of your attack, which is kind of weird and messy, but whatever. It's kind of fun. It's like the Amazing Rare mechanic. Unfortunately, all the Stellars are really just seeing play for their non-stellar attack mostly. Not entirely, but that's like the main way they're seeing play, or the Trapco CX is seeing play. They're really like boring. I feel like they're not like incredibly boring, but like the Amazing Rares, which were similar, which were the beginning of the Sword and Shield era. Um, there's a lot to talk about with them that I can't really get into here. There's the fact they were like super bad and they were like super they're really hard to balance, but they were all single prizes. So the fact that they were like not I mean they weren't like super tame, but they all I think all had one attack except for like Celebi. So their attacks were like the cards were kind of straightforward, but they were single prizers and they were like tech options as well in toolbox style decks. But then you look at Trapagos, and like Lapras, and it's like, like they're not that interesting. The evolutions with Galvantula EX and Cinderace EX are like whatever. We've seen like a good chunk as well. I feel like I don't remember how many Stellars we've seen. There's Sylveon and Ceruledge, and then there's also Flygon. I don't remember we've seen like a bunch that haven't been released yet. But I don't know. I've been like not super impressed by the mechanics so far. It's like the attacks are so hard to pay that you just kind of ignore them, which is like kind of obvious. Um, because like of course it's going to be like that. Dragon Pokemon honestly are like kind of boring too, because like you can't really use most of them. They're pretty awkward. So it could have just been like 2 types, and then like I feel like it would have been better, or maybe it could have been 3 types, but you just have them like mix and match between the attacks, which we might see, but presumably we won't see. And then there's been a lot of support specifically for those stellar attacks to make them more like viable. So that's like okay, but the fact that you have to like put these essentially band-aids on top of the card for like a mechanic that like I don't know doesn't seem to work super well. I feel like it's not bad. It's like kind of fun. It's not super unique, but it's certainly a little bit unique. And it's not a bad mechanic, but there are definitely better mechanics as well than this one. This is the one I'm most interested in hearing about because it is the newest, but I feel like it just been okay so far. Then we have the ancient and future Pokemon. I'm trying to think like in terms of what's been like good between the two. Which one's been better? Let's look at Ancient first. No, Ancient's been better. I feel like the Ancient Pokemon, so they're all basics. Well, no, oh, they're not just Pokemon too. They're also trainers. But there's only a few trainers. Like, I wish there were more trainers. We're getting new Pokemon every set, but we are not getting any more trainers, presumably at all, which is like really boring. The new Pokemon are like okay, certainly, but nothing like crazy. I feel like Ancient, I'm not a big fan of Ancient. All the Pokemon are, I mean, they're all big basics. That's like kind of the idea of really both, but Ancient more so. We have like Gadget Fair EX, Walking Wake EX, to some extent, though people aren't really playing this like at all. And then like Roaring Moon EX, of course, Raging Bull EX. Um, I guess Koraidon EX as well, though people also aren't like really playing that. Or if they are, what this is expanded. Yes, that's different. But like it's big basics doing one shots, and so it's like kind of whatever, right? Nothing super interesting there. Then you do have some of the other interesting ancient cards. Earthen Vessel's been like a really good card. I think it's just a cool card. Obviously nothing like super crazy with it. It's just like a discard a card from your hand, search for two energies. Pretty straightforward, but I think it is a really fun, really good, but not like super broken card. And a card I like a lot. I mean, wow, this is like really impressive looking at these results. But it's not. I feel like very few people would say it's a broken card, and I feel like even less people would say it's a problematic card. I mean, it's just like a solid card. Then like there's some interesting ones. Fluttermane is like a tech Pokemon. Then Roaring Moon, I guess Roaring Moon like kind of helps out the ancient cards because it's the best single prize deck or like normal single prize deck in the game right now, and it really has been probably since it came out. Let's see if we look here the best single. Well, I guess Lost Zone's been like a top deck as well, but that's kind of it always feels different. Um, yeah, I feel like Ancient Box has been the best single prize deck, so I'll put it in B tier. It's been okay, nothing like super crazy. I mean, I thought it was cool when it first came out, and there are some really cool cards with ancient Pokemon that have been played in lots of different decks, which is cool. There's a Mill card with Great Tusk, not like a super strong card, but not a terrible card either. Probably the best Mill card we've seen in quite a while. Um, so there have been some cool cards, and then Future. I will say I would definitely put it higher up if we saw more trainers though that were interesting. And then we got Future here, which says, or which again just like a label. And Iron Bundle is a very good versatile card. Um, Iron Hands EX is really good. Iron Thorns EX, that's really good. It's like really annoying as well. Um, but it is a very strong card. But not a very good design. Certainly, I feel like it's probably one of the weaker designs in the current standard format, probably like bottom 10, maybe not, but it's certainly pretty bad. Because it's really annoying. We have like cool cards, like the new Iron Boulders, like cool and stuff. Not very good, but the future box deck has like fallen short though. I feel like Future should have been cooler than Ancient. Like it's got really cool themes going on with switching, and just like synergy stuff. It's kind of like just the cool parts of Rapid Strike and Fusion Strike, which were definitely cooler than Single Strike. Single Strike was kind of boring, not like super boring, but it was just like, oh, I'm doing big damage. But now with Rapid Strike and Fusion Strike, you have some really interesting themes going on there. Fusion Strike wasn't super crazy, like it was. There obviously weren't like a ton of Fusion Strike cards, and it was just the VMAX deck. I don't think any of the other Fusion Strike cards really saw play out of that, unless I'm just forgetting some Fusion Strike Pokemon specifically. But um, yeah, there are some cool future Pokemon. You got, as I said, Iron Hands EX and Iron Thorns EX isn't cool. Iron Valiant EX, this is definitely a card I think is really fun. And then you have Iron Leaves EX, which is like it's a counter, but you do have the future box deck, but that's been like kind of boring. I feel like a lot of these Pokemon have just been like a little underwhelming. So I'll put this in the C tier. This is not ordered, by the way. Yeah, I don't really feel like ordering it. So, yeah, it's been okay, but a little bit disappointing. I feel like it could have been really cool and just been like kind of whatever so far. Then we got the tools. Tools have been a new mechanic, I guess. They were just like separated from items. I don't know if I should have included this one, but I did. Tools with Scarlet and Violet are like okay. Obviously, Pokemon is done. A pretty, I guess, good job of like making sure that they're good. You have Arven as one of the best supporters in the game, a clear top five supporter, and that's pretty crazy. I think it's the third best supporter. I don't remember exactly all the best supporters. Boston and Iron are obviously the top two. So yeah, I think Arven would be the third best. There might be some people who'd say it's better than Iono, but I definitely disagree. Um, I think the tools have been like cool. What Pokemon's done with them. This is not TMs. TMs is a separate thing here. Or A-Spec tools. I'll talk about the A-Spec specifically. But yeah, I feel like let me take a look at what the tools have been from the Scarlet and Violet era. Where do I find this? Limitless can be kind of weird at times. Okay. Um, no, okay, there we go. Ignoring the A-Specs and then also the Future and Ancient, I'll ignore too in the TMs. There have been some like solid ones. Oh, they're doing the berries. Yeah, lovely. I forget. That's not really a mechanic. It's like a minor theme thing. There are some like cool ones here. Oh, there's the comeback mechanic stuff, which is not a mechanic. Also, like, why is Toy Spell printed? But anyways, you got like some solid tools. I feel like they haven't been like I don't know. They haven't been like different. I mean, like EXP shares a reprint, which is like a good card, but it's just a reprint. So it's not really a new mechanic. I don't know where to put this one. I probably shouldn't have put it anywhere. I guess it's like B tier or something. Whatever. I mean, they're tools. What's there to say about it? Then you have the technical machines though. They are kind of cool. I think we're getting another one, which we like didn't get any for a while. I feel like they've been pretty disappointing so far. Like they're kind of cool, but like they're easy to find. Like they're so easy to find. If you're playing for Arvin, there's like a lot of decks playing for Arvin that just don't play a ton of tools. You can easily slot in a technical machine, but Team Evolution has good value. The other ones don't. I mean, it's not like they have no value. TM Turbo Energize certainly has a place. TM Devolution is a usable tech card into certain matchups and in certain scenarios. It is a solid card. TM Crisis Punch is probably so. This is like they released a bunch in Paradox Rift. Wait, what were the sets? Yeah, they released a bunch of Paradox Rift or four, then released one Paldean Fates, and there's a new one coming in Surging Sparks, which is like really bad. It's not colorless, and it's not good. It's like a stellar thing. It is bad. But well, it's like unpayable essentially. But you got like TM Crisis Punch, which I feel like it's so hard to use and it's so like kind of underwhelming. It's not a bad card necessarily, but um, I don't know. It's not like super versatile either. Like it's not that versatile. And then you have TM Blindside, which is kind of like it's good for spread decks. It's a funny card, um, but it's not particularly good either. But it's okay. I feel like in terms of like what you're looking for in terms of the mechanic, it's okay as like a an attacking option within some decks. Certainly not the most competitive card, but it is a cool card. One I do like. I wish there were some that were like more interesting that like did damage. None of them can like attack consistently and do damage consistently. I mean, only two of them do damage, and then devolution is like an attack as well to hurt your opponent some. But like team devolution is also really specific. Like a lot of them are way too specific. I wish there were some that were just like mediocre, but I don't know, just like normal attacks, right? Like Crisis Punch you can only use on the end of the game. Um, Blindside you can only use to damage bench Pokemon. So I've just been disappointed. I'll put it yet again in C tier here. Not a terrible mechanic, but one that I would like to see fleshed out a bit more, or actually a decent amount more. I feel like I want to see at least like 10 of these, and we just seen five or six with the new one coming out. But yeah, it's been kind of disappointing. Then we have two A specs. This is kind of weird because there have been the A specs. Like they were the old A specs, but I said the new mechanic was the the stadiums and the special energies. Oh, there were yeah, I forgot about Grand Tree as the second stadium ace spec, and then there's the two special energy ace specs as well. And I think there was another special energy ace spec coming out. Yeah. So I didn't include the items or tools. Maybe I should have, but I didn't here. And then the energy I'll talk about first. I feel like these have been really solid. I mean, Legacy Energy is like a cool A spec. New Upper Energy is like pretty bad. Um, but I feel like it's very logical and it works quite well. I'm gonna put it in. Well, we'll see. Like I like him. Neo RNG, as I said, it's really bad and really niche. It is good with Dragapult, or it was, but now you just play Sparkling Crystal. So that was really its only use case. I mean, there are other like niche use cases, but they're not really going to come up very often. No, no, that's not true. It is good. What Pidgeot Control is this? What I think it is? Yeah. So it is good with Luxray EX. Um, so EX is certainly not the best deck in the game. What ace spec is in this list? Is it Hero's Cape? Yeah, it is Hero's Cape. But yeah, Luxray EX can get really good value out of playing with Near Upper Energy, but this is like it's very niche. Unfortunately, it is a cool card though, but I feel like Pokemon kind of dropped the ball. It's like definitely the worst ace spec. It was like not the worst for like a set, and then it was it's back to being the worst again. So Legacy Energy is definitely one of my favorite ace specs. Looking at all the ace specs in standard, I feel like it probably is my favorite one. Mm, yeah, I think it is. Like Legacy Energy is a card that is like it's really good. Or it's quite good. Admittedly, I don't really like Lugia. That's like the arena that gets played in. You can play it in other decks as well. I feel like it's a card that is cool and versatile, but like it's kind of similar to some other cards, but it's really unique. I definitely think the special energies aspects is like it's a really good idea. Special energies aren't super easily countered or and also can be recovered, unlike stadiums. Well, stadiums can be recovered, but they can be lost vacuumed. And I feel like that's a big issue, especially for neutralization zone. I feel like Grand Tree is like such a bizarre ace spec. I mean, like this has so much text. What am I looking at right now? Like this is so much. Like what is this? It's so weird. But yeah, Grand Tree is such a is a mess, and then Neutralization Zone is also a bit of a mess. Like it can win you games, or like I don't know. It's a weird card. Definitely not one I'm a big fan of. Um, yeah, so I feel like Pokemon's done like a mediocre job designing Ace-Spec stadiums, and I feel like there was a big issue with the fact that they can be lost vacuumed, and I don't know. I just feel like ace specs don't work quite as well for stadiums. Stadiums are like a card type that really have struggled to find their identity, because like if we take a look at competitive stadiums, um, competitive is like impures in their database. You got just like a big mess. Okay, this is a lot more stadiums than I was expecting to see. Um, I mean, like certainly they start to get old pretty quickly, but like who's playing Wind Stadium? Like what is this? Okay. But you have like some of the most defining stadiums. Area Zero Underdepths is like the most defining one in standard right now. Path to the Peak is one of the most defining ones ever. Um, Chaotic Swell was a very strong stadium. Um, there were like some cool ones here, but I mean, stadiums have been like a bit of a mess. So Dimension Valley was a really really cool one. Parallel City, but like they're all so different and all like so weird. Stadiums are like an interesting type of card, and there are certainly some other good ones I did not say as well. But I don't know. I feel like stadiums are kind of awkward, and 8-spec stadiums are kind of adding on to that. But anyways, this is my ranking of the or it's a tier list of the different mechanics in Scarlet and Violet. Tell me what you think, and if you change anything on this tier list. Honestly, like I feel like Pokemon's done a pretty solid job of the mechanics, but they haven't done like an amazing job. Like I really liked. I mean, one of my favorite mechanics is Prism Stars. I didn't really play with them that much, but I feel like it is a really cool mechanic. So I'm interested in seeing what Pokemon's going to bring with the new mechanic, the trainer's Pokemon, or which is actually like also a returning mechanic, but whatever. That'll hopefully be cool. It might not. We'll see exactly what it's going to be like, but I'm looking forward to it. But I hope you enjoy the video. Consider liking, subscribing, hitting the bell, all that good stuff. And as always, I'm excited to see you in the next video.